You disturb. Your presence affects the environment even before you speak. People look at you strangely, some distance themselves, and others seem uncomfortable. And this happens even in places where you thought you would find peace. You feel the weight in the air, but you don't know where it comes from. The truth is, the spiritual world has already identified you. Many think that this discomfort is an exaggeration in your head, but it is not. You are not too sensitive or dramatic. You are different. Your soul carries a vibration that goes against what the world easily accepts. And those who live far from the light feel the impact of yours. Even without understanding, they react, because you provoke movement. This movement begins in the invisible. It is not about appearance or words. It is about essence. What comes out of you cannot be seen, but it can be felt. And this energy sets off alarms in the spiritual world. The good recognize you and draw near. The bad see you from afar and become agitated. You awaken what was dormant and disturb what was hidden. God does not hide those he chooses. He allows your presence to be a beacon. But a beacon illuminates everything, including the parts that many prefer to keep in the shadows. That is why the closer you get to your purpose, the more resistance you feel. But this resistance is proof that you are heading in the right direction. In this video, you will discover 7 clear signs that you disturb the material and the spiritual world. Not for being wrong, but for being true. And this truth, when carried by a chosen one, is unbearable for those who live in lies. If you identify with these signs, you will understand that your discomfort is your spiritual signature. If something here spoke to your heart, if you saw yourself in any of these situations, subscribe to the channel. Not out of curiosity, but because here you find the kind of truth that the world does not like to tell. And perhaps, just perhaps, it is here that you will understand that what they called an exaggeration was your calling. You don't need to say anything to make an impact. Your mere entry into a room already changes the atmosphere. Some people become restless, others quieter, and some uncomfortable. It's as if something invisible announces your arrival before you are even visually noticed. This strange feeling is not an impression, it's energy, and it comes from the spirit. The chosen carry a different frequency. It doesn't matter if you speak softly, if you are discreet or reserved, your spiritual vibration is perceived. Before anyone asks your name, your energy has already been felt. It's not about charisma, it's about presence. What comes from you provokes a reaction in the spiritual world, and therefore manifests in the physical realm as well. People who live in spiritual imbalance feel the impact of your presence. Even without knowing why, something within them becomes uncomfortable. It's as if their body recognizes that there is a light, revealing what they prefer to keep hidden. And by instinct they react with coldness, mockery, distance, or even aggression. You become an unintentional mirror. Mirrors show truths. They reveal what is dirty, out of place, what needs to be transformed. Your energy cleanses without needing to touch. It shows what is wrong simply by existing. That's why you may notice that in certain environments, the weight increases, the silence intensifies, the atmosphere changes, and all of this happens without you making any effort. This doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to you because you carry something that cannot be bought or learned. You have been spiritually set apart for something greater, and this spiritual separation is marked in your essence. It doesn't need a physical sign. It is already imprinted in your vibrational field. And the spiritual world knows this. Spirits that vibrate in darkness identify those who represent a risk to their actions. Your presence is bothersome because it brings light. And when light appears, it breaks down structures that were comfortable in darkness. That's why some people get irritated without knowing why. They are merely a reflection of an invisible movement occurring at that moment. It's not about you being perfect. It's about what God placed in you. And what He placed within you manifests even when you are quiet, tired, or silent. The vibration that accompanies you does not depend on your mood. It is active because it comes from the source that chose you. And you, even without understanding, are already fulfilling your role. Many times you try to be more sociable, lighter, or try to fit in. But the discomfort doesn't go away. Because it's not about your behavior, it's about your energy. What you represent, spiritually, does not go unnoticed, and those who are not ready to deal with this will react, even unintentionally, even without knowing why. Over time, you will learn to recognize when the environment closes in, when the conversation shifts, when the energy drops. And it's not paranoia, it's discernment, it's sensitivity, it's spiritual awareness. You begin to realize that this discomfort you provoke is a sign that your vibration is alive, active, and on a mission. Don't be alarmed by this. Also, don't try to hide who you are. This reaction is a confirmation, not a mistake. When you feel that something has changed simply because you are present, remember, this is not personal, it's spiritual. You have been set apart, and environments react to this, because your presence, even in silence, carries movement. There are people who live trying to ignore their own flaws, their mistakes, their deviations from purpose. They go on as if nothing is wrong until you show up. And your presence, without any effort, begins to awaken a silent unease within them. Not because you talk too much, but because the way you live confronts the way they do. You are a living reminder that it is possible to live with truth. That it is possible to be honest, coherent, sensitive, and strong at the same time. And this disturbs those who have spent their lives justifying wrong choices with ready-made phrases. When you appear, what was dormant within them begins to stir. And the reaction can be harsh. Some distance themselves for no reason. Others start to attack you behind your back. Some invent stories, distort your intentions, or try to make it seem like you want to overly stand out. But all of this is an attempt to silence the effect that your energy has on them. You remind these people of everything they have failed to become. The chosen do not need to preach, correct, or point out anyone's mistakes. Their life already speaks. Their gaze already speaks. The way they deal with chaos, how they face trials, how they respond to evil with balance. All of this carries a message. And this message, even without intention, causes discomfort in those who are out of tune. It is common for you to be seen as too right, too sensitive, too intense. But what they call an exaggeration is just your living essence bothering the system that these people have built to protect themselves from their own truths. You are not the problem. The problem is what you represent to those who want to keep pretending. People who live in lies prefer to be surrounded by those who reinforce their illusions. That is why they reject those who make them look inward. And you, with your spiritual clarity, your emotional firmness, your silent truth, end up being a constant discomfort. Not because you point out flaws, but because you show that it is possible to live differently. Being chosen is living in confrontation without provoking fights. It is carrying a presence that uninstalls masks. And that is why many will try to discredit what you do. They will minimize your victories. They will say that you are too good to be true. But in reality, it is just their fear screaming to avoid change. Your soul is clean. Your path is straight. Even with flaws and falls, you rise with dignity. This messes with the mind and spirit of those who live hiding. That's why so many look at you strangely. They can't stand the fact that you stand firm without needing to step on anyone. That is rare. That disturbs. Have you noticed how some people are only comfortable when you are distant? Or how your presence awakens irony, jokes, veiled comments? Don't take this personally. It doesn't speak about who you are. It speaks about what you awaken in others. You activate consciousness. And this, for many, is unbearable. Keep being who you are. Your life speaks more than 1,000 speeches. Your truth, even when silent, continues to echo. And those who are most disturbed are often the ones who needed to cross paths with you the most. You are a sign, a mirror, an invitation to change. And not everyone is ready to accept that invitation. You may be silent, alone, forgotten by everyone, but in the spiritual world, you are being watched. Even when you feel invisible, there is movement happening around you. You don't always feel it, but it is there. Because those who are chosen never go unnoticed among those who operate in the invisible, whether in light or darkness. Good spirits draw near to strengthen, protect, and silently advise you. Meanwhile, troubled spirits see you as a threat. And when you pray, when you decide to stand firm, when you choose good, you stir forces that have become complacent. So don't be surprised if, especially during these moments, you experience the most subtle attacks. It is common for you to feel tired for no reason, have confusing thoughts, and experience distractions that arise without cause. Sometimes everything seems to be going well and suddenly something gets stuck. This could be spiritual. The resistance increases when your presence begins to break down invisible structures, when your faith starts to destabilize what was previously silent. The enemy tries to use whatever is within reach: close people, misunderstood words, confusing situations, not because you have done something wrong, but because your journey represents a threat. You are not disturbing the natural, you are disturbing the spiritual. And this happens because your light is not extinguished, it is functioning. Even without knowing it, you have already entered environments where your mere presence cleared the air. You have already been a channel of healing, peace, or liberation just by being there. But just the same, you have also attracted cold looks, provocations, and discomfort from those who carry something that cannot endure the light. All of this is spiritual, not personal. God does not hide those he marks. You may not have titles, fame, or human recognition, but in the invisible kingdom, you are known. The heavens move for your sake. The darkness also reacts. And this reaction is a confirmation. You are activating something that goes far beyond what you can see with your eyes. There are people who distance themselves from you without explanation. Relationships that cool down out of nowhere. Groups that exclude you, even when you try to fit in. You wonder what you did wrong. The truth is that often you did nothing. What these people feel is not personal. It's spiritual. It's your light bothering what is within them. Those who are chosen feel the weight of rejection. Sometimes it comes from family itself. Other times, from old friendships or environments where you have always been. The feeling of not belonging is not an exaggeration. It exists because you have truly been set apart. And the spiritual world responds to this separation, even when no one understands. Your presence activates something in the environment. Those who are at peace feel welcomed. Those who are in conflict feel discomfort. It's as if your energy reveals hidden intentions, imbalances, and masks, and those who do not want to change prefer to reject you. It is easier to distance themselves from someone who shows the truth than to confront it. The chosen often try to please, to be lighter, more accessible, more understandable. But rejection returns, because it has nothing to do with likability. It has to do with essence. What you carry is spiritual, not emotional. And this means that even your most neutral actions can be interpreted as affronts by those who do not want to evolve. This rejection is not punishment. It is deliverance. God allows the distancing of people who could not bear your growth. He removes those who would not be able to walk by your side when you start to truly shine. Each cut, each silence, each closed door can be protection. The spiritual world acts without you needing to understand everything. The pain of rejection has often made you think about giving up. But what you call loneliness, God calls separation. To separate is not to exclude, it is to prepare. And in due time, you realize that the few who remain are the ones truly sent to walk with you. The others were just passing through. Some connections do not need words. A glance, a gesture, a simple approach say everything. Children who stare at you fixedly. Babies who smile for no reason. Animals that come close as if they know you. All of this has a spiritual explanation. The purest beings sense who carries light. And when they sense it, they approach without fear. The light you carry does not shout. It emanates. It does not demand attention, but it is noticed by those who still live in a clear frequency. Children do not judge by appearance or status. They connect with what is true, and your presence transmits security, warmth, peace. That is why they look, smile, and sometimes even touch you, not understanding why. Animals are also sensitive to the invisible world. A dog that always barks at everyone but lies down at your feet. A cat that follows you around the house in silence. A bird that lands near you. These are not common coincidences. They are small signs from the spiritual, showing that your energy is a refuge for what is pure. You may not even notice how often this happens. But amidst the routine, nature speaks to you in subtle ways. You feel relief when you are in contact with trees, rivers, and open skies. It's as if something within you breathes better. This happens because your essence is aligned with what was created by God. Nature, animals, and children have not been contaminated by the filters of the modern world. They recognize when something is in spiritual harmony. Your light does not go unnoticed. Even if you try to hide, to be quiet, or to live more discreetly, those who vibrate in purity will notice. And more than that, they will trust you. How many times have you been sad or tired, and a child gave you a spontaneous hug? Or an animal approached and stayed close, in silence? That is a response. That is heaven reminding you that your energy is still alive, even on days when you feel extinguished. Purity recognizes those who carry light, even when the adult world does not recognize it. The spiritual world uses purity to reach you. Sometimes you only need a simple sign to remember who you are. And God, in His wisdom, sends this reminder through the little ones, the innocent, those who do not need explanations to trust. They simply feel. And what they feel is truth. Even if you do not feel strong or think that you are not doing enough, the light you carry is perceived. Not because you force it, but because it is already part of who you are. You were chosen to transmit peace, even without saying anything. And that is why purity approaches effortlessly. The next time an animal follows you, a child stares at you, or nature calms you, do not ignore it. Do not think it is just a coincidence. This is spiritual. It is proof that even in silence, your light is speaking. And those who have pure eyes, pure ears, and a clean heart will always hear. You feel things before they happen. You can't explain how, but you just know. A place makes you uncomfortable, even though it seems safe. A person gives you a strange feeling without saying anything. A choice seems wrong to everyone, but you feel it's the right one. That silent voice inside you is not imagination. It is spiritual guidance. Those who are chosen carry a more sensitive channel to the higher. It's as if there is an invisible line that transmits information directly to your spirit. And when that line is clear, you start to notice signs, feel alerts, and receive messages in the form of intuition. The mind doubts, but the heart recognizes that there is something greater communicating with you. You won't always have proof of what you feel. Most of the time, it will just be a discomfort, a shiver, a sudden peace. But the more you learn to listen to this voice, the more it guides you to the right path. Even when everything around you points in another direction, intuition shows you the invisible route of protection. Many people ignore this feeling. They have learned to trust only what is logical, visible, and rational. But the chosen do not operate that way. They feel the spiritual as one feels the change in the wind. And when they disregard that subtle touch, the consequences arrive quickly. Because they were not made to walk only with the eyes of the body. Have you ever avoided a place at the last minute and then discovered that something bad happened there? Or turned down an offer that seemed perfect, only to later be grateful for not having accepted? These situations are more than just luck. They are deliverances, and these deliverances came through something that the world despises: intuition. Intuition is the most direct way for God to communicate with you. It doesn't need words, it doesn't shout, it whispers, but the impact it makes is profound. It's as if something inside you already knows the truth, even when the facts have not yet appeared. And that knowing does not come from chance. It comes from heaven. Over time, you begin to recognize what is intuition and what is fear. Fear confuses, immobilizes, frightens. Intuition guides, calms, directs. Even if it brings a warning, it comes with peace. Because its purpose is not to paralyze you, it is to protect you. And believe me, you have been saved by it more times than you can imagine. The enemy tries to silence this sensitivity. He uses distractions, rush, doubts. He makes you disbelieve your own perception. But whenever you return to silence, to prayer, to inner listening, it reappears. Because it never left. It was just smothered by the noise around you. You were chosen to feel what others ignore, to perceive what has not yet been revealed. And this is a gift. Do not deny that connection. Honor that communication. It is your spiritual compass. And the more you trust in it, the more your journey aligns with God's plan for your life. Have you ever wondered why you seem to carry a weight that others do not feel? Why the pains, the cuts, the losses reach you even when you are doing everything right? Those who are chosen go through different battles. And the reason is clear. Your pain is part of the preparation. It confirms that you carry a greater purpose. The spiritual wars you face are not punishment. They are frames for the mission that awaits you. The greater the impact you are going to have, the more intense the process you need to endure. It's as if God is strengthening you from within, teaching you to resist, to see with His eyes, and not with the eyes of the world. Many will not understand your pains. They will think you are exaggerating, that it is drama, that it is bad luck. But what they do not see is what happens within your spirit. While on the outside you try to go on with life, on the inside, a silent transformation is shaping you. It is in this secret place that the chosen are built. You feel as if you are being prepared for something, and you are. God does not waste suffering. Everything He allows, He uses. Even your tears have purpose. They cleanse the soul, strengthen the spirit, break pride, and bring you closer to Him. The pain you feel today is the soil where your calling will grow. So when life seems too hard, remember, you have not been forgotten. You are being refined. Gold only shines after the fire. And you are not alone on this journey. Each scar you have is a reminder that you survived where many would have given up. This does not make you weak. It confirms you as chosen. If you have made it this far and recognized yourself in every part of this message, understand one thing. There is nothing wrong with you. What you feel, perceive, live, and carry is not a weight in vain. It is a sign. It is proof you have been spiritually activated. Your soul is responding to a call that comes from above. You are not invisible in the spiritual world. Your journey is watched over, protected, and sometimes challenged. Not because God wants to see you suffer, but because He wants to see you ready. Ready to endure what many would not bear. Ready to illuminate where few dare to enter. Ready to be the answer where many only ask questions. Your pain, the discomfort it causes, the resistance you face. All of this is a sign that your existence is making a difference. Those who live in the light recognize you. Those who live in darkness reject you. And it doesn't matter if that darkness disguises itself as friendships, compliments, or feigned spirituality. The reaction to your spirit always reveals the truth. The chosen disturb because they carry truth. And truth does not please those who feed on lies. You will continue to attract heavy looks, be misunderstood, and feel invisible pressures. But this does not mean you are wrong. It means you are in motion. Because stationary light does not disturb, but advancing light breaks down resistance. Do not fight to be accepted by those who cannot handle your essence. Stay strong. Pray more. Connect with the higher. Speak with those who understand you spiritually. And if this message has truly touched your soul, share in the comments something you have experienced and have only now understood was spiritual. It could be a reaction you suffered, an intuition that saved you, a child who recognized you, a pain that you now understand. Your experience may be exactly what another chosen one needs to read today to continue.